Good morning, everybody. Just me today. Unfortunately, Kiowa couldn't make it, but I'm still going to make a dish that she has really been looking forward to. She has really wanted to make tamales, which it's a long process. I love tamales too. So we're going to do sort of a quicker, easier way to make tamales in the crock pot. So I'll show you how to make a tamale kind of casserole or tamale pie in the crock pot. It won't exactly be like the corn husk, typical tamales you would normally get, but it will be the same flavor and same sort of texture and all that. So right now I am just browning some ground beef. I'm using 85% lean. The leaner the ground beef, the better. It's better for your heart health. It has less saturated fat than some of the fattier beefs. And saturated fat, eating too much puts you at higher risk for heart disease, diabetes, cancer, all that. And when you do the leaner varieties of beef, you don't have to strain off all that extra grease. So I'm just going to brown the beef in here, in this pan here, before I add it to the crock pot. So in addition to our ground beef, I also have canned corn. So this is the no salt added, no sugar added variety. So it has less salt or sodium, less added sugar. I got low sodium black beans. Both of these have been drained and rinsed to remove any of that extra juice or sodium salt in there. I have some diced tomatoes with green chilies, so I'm just going to dump that whole thing in there. And we're also going to put a little bit of the red enchilada sauce in there. On my cutting board here, I just cut up some onion, some green onion, and a little bit of cilantro. So we'll be adding that to the crock pot. And then, with the last hour of all of these ingredients being in the crock pot, the last hour you add the corn muffin mix. So I'm going to mix, it's an 8.5 ounce box of corn muffin mix with 2 eggs. We're going to mix it up in a bowl. And then the last hour that our food is cooking, we'll add that corn muffin mix on top, so it'll create a layer on top, and we'll let it cook that last hour, and then it'll be done. Alright, so to our ground beef, I'm going to do a quarter teaspoon, or a quarter to a half a teaspoon of black pepper. Do a half a teaspoon of chili powder. We're going to do a full teaspoon of cumin. And then we're going to do a half a teaspoon of salt. So spices are kind of whatever your preference is. So if you wanted your tamales to be more spicy, you can add more chili powder. You could add some cayenne pepper powder. If you want it to be less spicy, just reduce the amount of spice you're using. So whatever your spice preference or tolerance is at, you can adjust that. You can also do different meat other than beef. You can do chicken, you can do pork. Those are kind of the common tamale meat flavors: chicken tamales, pork, beef. But you can also do turkey meat. You could have a leaner meat. So you could kind of do whatever meat kind you want, or you could even do vegetarian if you wanted to, and just do like more beans and veggies. Turn this down a little bit. So I'm really just looking to make sure there's no pink spots, no pink in this meat. We don't want it to be undercooked. It will cook a little bit longer when we put it in the crock pot. But we just want to make sure it's cooked through so we don't get sick. So no pink. Don't want any pink. And it's looking pretty good to me, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this heat off. went ahead and I used some cooking spray to spray down the crock pot just so it doesn't stick. You know, canola oil, vegetable oil, olive oil, all really great oils to use, heart healthy oils. You can use butter as well to grease things down, but you just want to be mindful of not using too much butter all the time just because it is higher in saturated fat. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and dump this meat in the crock pot. We're going to add our tomatoes. Corn. Add our black beans. And you could use other beans if you have pinto beans or kidney beans, whatever you want to use. Our enchilada sauce. And then, of course, our onions, green onions, and cilantro. And so that was about 3 to 4 onions and about half of a bunch of cilantro that you get at the store. We also grew cilantro in the garden, but it's brown now, so can't have any fresh cilantro. Just mix it all together. So our dish is looking very beautiful. It's very colorful. We've got browns, reds, yellows, greens, variety of colors. That's a good thing to look for in your dishes, eating food that are a variety of colors, because that means you're getting all different kinds of vitamins and minerals. So we want our dishes to be colorful. Okay, so that's all mixed in. I'm just going to put the lid on here. And we are going to put this guy on high. So we're going to do the 4-hour setting. You could do the 6 to 8 hour setting as well, especially if you're going to prep this the night before. Just put it on in the morning and go to work. It's kind of nice for that if you do the low setting, because then it'll just cook all day. It'll be ready by the time you get home. The only stipulation is the cornbread, sort of that corn husk flavor we get from using this. This does need to go on the last hour. So we'll prep that when we get closer to the 3-hour mark. So if you're doing high, it cooks for about 4 hours. If you're doing low, it cooks for about 6 to 8 hours. Alright, so now it is time to add our corn mixture. So we have this corn muffin mix, 8.5 ounce package with 2 eggs mixed up in this bowl. So I'm just going to kind of smooth this corn muffin mixture over the top here. Just kind of smooth it out as best as you can. Just over the top. It's not exactly perfect because it is kind of liquidy. It's gonna end up being kind of like a stew almost a little bit. So just do the best you can. Smooth that corn muffin mixture over the top. I'll give it that typical tamale, like corn husk kind of flavor and texture. Okay, so now our corn muffin mixture has been in there for about an hour, so I'm just going to check it with a toothpick. If it comes out clean, it is ready, and it is coming out clean. So I'm kind of sticking it as far as in as I can go in like the thickest part too. But yeah, it's definitely coming out clean. So our guy is ready. I'm going to put them in bowls because it is kind of like a casserole or stew. I'm just going to break into that corn mixture on top. And this is what we have for our final product. Delicious.